Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. I'm Lord Genia Atienza and I'm the first reporter of Group 4. My topic is about the professionalization of teaching.
Professionalization is a process whereby occupation have become or seek to become publicly recognized as professions according to the degree to which they meet the alleged criteria. Professionalization can be seen as having two strands. One strand is concerned with the improvement of status, and the other strand is concerned with the improvement of the capacity of members to enhance the quality of service which is provided. It is generally assumed that these two elements proceed pari passu, which means equal, but this need not to be the case. The terminology in relation to this distinction is confusing. However, recent usage distinguishes between professionalization as the pursuit of status, professionalism as the improvement of skills, and health service. The latter terminology will therefore be used here. One can perhaps refer to early professionalization as the process whereby the elite professions established their position, and late professionalization as the period beginning in the late 19th century when, with the rise of professional society by Perkin 1989, a large number of occupations, including teaching, began their quest for professional status by taking measures to meet the alleged criteria. In these terms, it can be said that teaching was in the process of professionalization from the mid 1870s to the mid 1970s, increasingly so after World War II. The length of the period of teacher education was extended. An increasingly higher proportion of teachers were graduates. Teacher training institutions became integrated into the universities. The knowledge base of teaching became more extensive. Teachers enjoyed a high degree of pedagogical autonomy within a loosely coupled school structure. Teachers' organizations increased their influence with government, and in some systems, teaching achieved the legal status of a profession. Let us now proceed with the basic laws on the professionalization of teaching. We have three basic laws, and the first one is Presidential Decree 1006. The second one is Republic Act 7836, and the third one is Republic Act 9293. Let's proceed to the Presidential Decree 1006. On January 1, 1977, Presidential Decree 1006 entitled Providing for the Professionalization of Teachers, Regulating Their Practice in the Philippines, otherwise known as the Decree Professionalizing Teaching, was proclaimed. With this presidential proclamation, teaching became professionalized in the Philippines. The proclamation of Presidential Decree 1006 was premised on the following. Number one, the institutions of the country have relied upon teachers whose direct and continuing interaction with the young people and the children make them potent forces for the development of proper attitudes among citizenry. Number two, the tremendous growth of the teaching population, comprising in the civil service sector alone more than 300,000 teachers deployed all over the country. Number 3. To ensure that in the immediately and urgency of teacher recruitment, qualitative requirements are not overlooked. It has become necessary to regulate the teaching profession. Number 4. Teaching requires a number of years of collegiate study. It is the only course that is not yet considered a profession. And lastly, number 5. In recognition of the vital role of teacher in nation building and as an incentive to raise the morale of teachers, it is imperative that they be considered as profession. Let's move on to the facts about Presidential Decree 1006. This proclamation helps the teaching in the Philippines become professionalized. And number 2, declare the policy that teacher education must be of the highest quality that fits to the needs and aspirations of the Filipino people. Number 3, the Civil Service Commission and the Department of Education and Culture was joined, and these are the offices that screens and approve such applications and issues the corresponding permits to take the examination to qualify teachers. They gave examination for the teacher, and those who passed the exam will get a professional teacher certificate and will be listed to the registered professional teachers. Number 4, in this law given us the different scope of this, which includes the declaration of the policy, powers and duties, qualification requirements for examinations applicants, scope and ratings about the exam, issuance of certificates, and etc. Number 5, this also includes the sanctions given to those licensed teacher who violates the rules. Let us now proceed with the second law, which is the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act, which is the Republic Act 7836. It is an act to strengthen the regulation and supervision of the practice of teaching in the Philippines and prescribing a licensure examination for teachers and for other purposes. The promotion, development, and professionalization of teacher and the teaching profession, the supervision and regularization of the licensure examination was the objective of this law. Professionalization of teaching is 20th century Philippine educational system's legacy to Filipino children. Republic Act or RA 7836, entitled the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994, mandates the conduct of the licensure examination for teachers, or LET. It was enacted in recognition of the role of teachers in nation building and development through a responsible and literate citizenry. The law stems from the belief that professionalization will improve the quality of teachers, quality of teaching, and therefore quality of students. According to the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, the national passing rate in LET from 2001 to 2011 are 34.30, 35.87, 26.27, 27.24, 26.99, 30.99, 28.50, 31.43, 25.50, 21.21, and 22.25 respectively. Based on this, one may ask if LET is so stringent that it certifies as passing only the best. No. After almost 2 decades of implementing RA 7836, LET figures and actual observations in Philippine schools indicate the poor quality of education graduates churned out by our teacher education institutions. Let us now take a look for the reasons of the poor quality of education graduates. The culprit. There are many factors that determine the production of quality students, like class size, family, aptitude, and student attitude, among others. But surely the lack of quality teachers contributes to the stagnation of Filipino students. A 2008 survey by Sonia A. Arenilio and Medal T. Arenilio found a clear case of failure to produce quality education graduates who can pass the LET and the progressive accumulation of non-qualifiers and repeaters. Disturbing is that graduates got high marks in school but very low in the LET. Nelly G. Espino et al.'s 2011 study likewise found graduates getting a mean rating of 87.33% as students but performed badly in the LET. Aside from grade inflation, these schools are also not getting the best high school graduates. Roberto Padua et al. Pointed this out as early as 1994 in the study, The Demand for and Supply of Basic Education Teachers in the Philippines. Teachers programs get the less able students while the abler ones who are get attracted to higher pay seek admission to other degree programs like engineering and medicine. They said Juanita B. Pasqua and Jane D. Navalta concluded in 2011 survey that the higher the grade in the teacher program, the higher the grade in the LET. Padua et al.'s study therefore explains the low marks as well as low passing rate of LET takers. The next one is the NAT, or National Achievement Test. The overall teacher education program of the country is so bad that only a fourth of its yearly output passes the LET. Many schools produce ill-trained graduates who cannot pass the LET even when they are retook it. Low-quality teacher education programs and graduates impact badly on students. Achievement Test, or NAT, are disappointingly low. 59.94, 64.81, 65.55, 68.1, and 68.15 respectively. For second-year high school, NAT results are shockingly below any decent standard. 46.64, 49.26, 46.71, 45.56, and 47.93 for the same period. Using DEPAD's institutional description, elementary students are near mastery while high school students are below mastery. Now let's take a look at the facts about RA 7836, or Republic Act 7836, which entitled the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act. Number 1, known as the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994. Number 2, define the meaning of teaching, teachers, board, and commission. Number 3, this act provides the full description and duties and responsibilities board and the board members. Number 4, this also talked about the requirements in the registration processes before taking the examination and after the examinations. Number 5, this also includes the sanctions given to those licensed teachers who violate.
And that's all for my report about the two basic laws of professionalization of teaching, and the last law would be reported by Angelo. Thank you.